Court was planned to be built in 1932 under the insistence of President Taft. It was designed by Cass Gilbert, and all the other elements of the building that are not designed by Gilbert were designed by people chosen by him.
Okay. The Supreme Court also features a great hall which leads to a court chamber, which is 82 feet by 91 feet with a 44 feet ceiling. And this is highly visible to all tourists of D.C. and is located next to two important buildings. One is the Capitol, where all the legislation happens with the House and the Senate. And the other one is the Library of Congress, which is right next to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is a Corinthian style, which is similar to the Library of Congress. Yeah, the Corinthian means that it's associated with the Greeks, but it also has Roman inspiration because it was inspired by the Grecan architecture.
All right, the Supreme Court building the Supreme Court had previously met in other buildings before this building was built in 1932. Many monumental decisions, including civil rights cases, women's rights cases, corporate litigation, and regulatory cases, and federal supremacy cases have decided within the chambers. The Great Hall, which leads to the court chamber, measures 82 feet by 91 feet with a 44-foot ceiling.
Go.
All right, the facade of the Supreme Court building is about 300 feet wide. It is framed in steel and encased in white marble. It has 16 Corinthian columns in the front, which you can't currently see, but that's typical for Grecian-style buildings. You ready?
Yeah.
Frequently depicted on the exterior of the building are symbols of the female figure representing justice, whom is inspired by the Greek god Themis and the Roman virtue Justica. The statue Contemplation of Justice features a small woman in the hand of a larger seated woman, the smaller woman being blindfolded and holding a scale. These are symbols which are associated with impartiality and balance within the justice system. Coupled with the Contemplation of Justice is authority of law. Both of these are sculpted by James Earl Fraser, who is also known for designing the well-known 5-cent coin, the Buffalo nickel. Authority of law is depicted holding a tablet of laws backed by a sheathed sword, which represents enforcement of the law.
So at the top of the Supreme Court, you see the 9 allegorical figures designed by Robert I. Bacon at the top of the West Cabinet. These depict collectively justice and those concepts which guide justice. Additionally, you see the bronze doors, which we'll show in just a second. Which depict 3 classical events, the Shield of Achilles, Praetor's Edict, and Julian the Scholar.